Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the live. It's Super Bowl Sunday 2019. Rams are playing the Patriots, and I'm just going to go ahead and go on record and say the Rams should probably just go ahead and pack it up and take it on back because the Patriots are going to kick their butts today. That's all I'm saying. Hi, Mrs. Q. So that's my early prediction. I'm going with Brady. I'm going to stick with the Patriots. So, who are you rooting for today? Heidi Blair. I'm going to give just another minute or so for folks. Hi, Naomi. You're going for the Rams? Oh, my goodness. Well, at least we'll have a little bit of healthy competition amongst us Dooney addicts. Hi, B Star. Hi, Rosalind. Hi, Ems, Beverly, Sandra, Sabrina. Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, Samantha. Happy Sunday. I was just sharing with those that were in the room. Hi, Clove. That I am rooting tonight for none other than the Patriots. So, hi, Kate Carriam. Happy Sunday. And D. Blair is going for the Rams. So, Mrs. Q, you sound like my grandmother. She would always, Super Bowl Sunday when she was alive, she would never ever, hi Kim, hi says what? She would never ever pick her team until like the halftime show. And at halftime, whoever was behind, that was her team. That's who she would root for at halftime. She was always about the underdog. Hi, Dr. Fish. Hi, Ford Ducks. So I don't know what festivities you have going on in your neck of the woods. I don't know if this is a group that is trying to catch the game. I know we're right at kickoff time. I think it was at 6 Eastern. So we won't stay long in case you want to catch more of the game. But I would ask that if you are in the room that you would go ahead and hit the thumbs up. And we are going to jump right into my top purchases of 2018. My first purchase is one that you have already seen in several videos over the last several weeks because it is none other than the medium Florentine Russell. This bag was a top purchase for the year because it had been many years before since this particular bag was available. So to see it come back and have a variety of colors available at the price point, and then on top of that, it be eligible for the additional 15% off coupon that we picked up from the tent sale, just made it an amazing purchase for 2018. Now, for the rest of these, I've not carried a lot of them, but there is a story behind each and every one of them. So I'm going to make sure that I walk you through that. All right. So the next is also a bag that you have seen recently on my channel. And it is the Nylon double pocket sack enabled by none other than Suz What during the 2018 meet and greet in Chicago. Lived in this bag, lightweight. It's a big bag. Cell phones fit in the outside pocket, shoulder strap so it can be carried over the shoulder or crossbody. It can also be carried in the crook of the arm or by the hand. The color saturation in Dooney's nylon is second to none. And it has great organization on the inside with those big pockets, big slips, and it has absolutely been amazing. Well, another top purchase for 2018 is the Nylon extra large Courtney sack. Now I did pick this up this year also in Florentine, but I have not carried it yet in Florentine, so I'm not sure if the carry is different. But again, I carried this. This is actually the bag that I started in for 2018. Easy to clean, lightweight. I love the contrast in the web strap, something very different because so far all we've seen from Dooney is the black and then like the khaki and the dark brown. So to get a little bit of pizzazz in the strap, I really like that. And this was a very easy carry. I could use it either with the snap on or the snap off. All of my stuff fit in here. I did use a purse organizer just to make sure that it was able to maintain its shape and it didn't sag on the bottom. But I guess I was destined to pick up another fantastic nylon bag from Dooney and Bourke in 2018 because I started the year in nylon. Hello, DJ King. Hello, Teresa. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Sunny Skies. Hi, Rosalind. I'm not sure if I said hello or not. So I think I've gotten everyone. Hi, Sonja. 612 Serrano. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So those were the first 3 bags. Number 4 is also nylon. You've seen it. But I fell in love with I've always loved Dooney and Bourke's page sack. And I guess it's now 2 years ago when I went to Hawaii for my birthday, I used a page sack, which is the inspiration for our trip to Cuba in July. So the Montego print with the black background was actually the first summer print or spring print that I saw, and I fell in love with the black background. The fact that it was in the page sack and had the fantastic strap with the adjustment just made it even more attractive to me. But this to me was one of the best purchases of 2018 because whether I'm wearing neutral colors or whether I'm carrying it as a companion piece for all of the travel pieces that I picked up, it was absolutely amazing. Not to mention, I also picked up the new pattern from the tent sale this year. In addition to this collection, the gym bag. The gym bag in itself was an amazing purchase. So whether you are looking for a weekend bag, whether you really need a gym bag, whether it is your extra piece for cruise or your carry-on for travel, whether you have someone that is maybe in and out of the hospital or that you are maybe, a mom that's expecting and she needs a bag to go to the hospital, whether it's one of those situations where you're just going to go hang out at a friend's house and you're planning to stay overnight because it's going to be late or maybe you're going to be drinking or whatever. The gym bag was an absolutely amazing purchase. And I love the fact that with that collection, we got the lollipop swirl because for, what I'll call tweens or teens, whether it's dance, whether it's cheerleading, whether you need a slumber party bag, I just felt like that particular bag was an excellent addition to be an introductory piece to young Dooney addicts that needed a travel type overnight bag. So I'm not pulling the gym bag out. You've seen it 1,000 times. So I'm not going to pull that one out, but it goes perfectly with this collection. Hi, the Closet Dive. Okay, the next purchase. This particular bag made the list for 2018 because when the bag was originally available, I felt like Peter made it backwards. That the pocket and the logo should have been reversed. And even though the collection was available for several months at the outlets when it was originally launched, I never could bring myself to make the purchase. And then I grew up and fell in love with the medium pocket clutch, and it was no longer available to be found. The ones that I saw in the secondary market looked like they had been well loved, and then the price point, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So when QVC brought this back and I was able to pick it up in red and light taupe, I took the plunge. I finally got over the fact that this is in fact the front and there's no Dooney branding on the front other than if you know the whip stitching, and the pouch or the patch on the back. So great size bag. Love the fact that it is in Florentine leather. I adore the fact that I did not have to result in going to the secondhand market in order to pick it up. So this was a top purchase for me because very, very much so like the medium Florentine Russell bag, this bag was extremely difficult to find in great condition. So I was glad to be able to add it back. The fact that my phone fits in the front pocket, even with the case, even in the case, because it has a little bit of an accordion stretch on the side, absolutely perfect. And then to have easy access with a zipper pocket on the back, and then plenty of room in the inside. And as the Sonja Covington would say, it has little flirty tassels on the zipper pull. I absolutely fell in love with this bag. This is my definition of a small bag. Anything smaller than this is like a micro mini for me. Hi, Carmen. But large slip pocket on the back. Again, if I decided not to keep my phone on the outside of the bag, the inside slip pocket is large enough to hold it, and then a zipper pocket on the back for anything that I wanted to ensure was secure on the inside of the bag. Made this bag also a top purchase for 2018. All right. The next bag for me in 2018 is none other than a piece from the Pimbrook collection. Now, this was a summer fun sale purchase. I couldn't decide on a color, so I simply omitted the gray, the blue, the black, and I think it came in plum, but everything else I picked up. The one that really, really drew me in and made the decision hard for me is this color right here, which is wine. This is the Dooney and Bourke Claire Satchel from the Pembroke collection. So very ladylike, very, after five, very Audrey Hepburn appropriate. I just fell in love with this bag. Now, I am not, and I was having this conversation on yesterday with Sabrina about the logo lock. I can live without the logo lock. I am not a huge fan. But for this particular style bag, I think that it is very, very attractive on this bag. And for those of you that follow other brands extremely close, LV actually has a similar style bag with a similar lock closure that made me feel that this bag could not only be dressed up but dressed down, because I saw it styled in the LV on an LV channel, and it was very, very casual. I'm talking about, jeans, t-shirt, and a blazer, and this bag absolutely went perfectly with it. So what made it difficult for me to decide on a color is this particular bag, which is in the color wine, was in the marketing or promo pictures that were online for this particular bag on the site. And with all of the gorgeous aesthetics, I mean, it just looked like something that the Closet Dive would have put together, which makes you want to just buy everything. I wanted not only this bag because it was in those garden party photos that were on Dooney.com and ILD.com. But I also felt like the other bags in the different colors would absolutely be versatile as well. So I took the plunge and added wine, Bordeaux, espresso, and cognac into my collection. So here she is, and I'm just gonna show it to you on the back. Gorgeous sheen, beautiful highs and lows. Love the fact that it has the feet, so you can either carry it without the strap, crossbody, or as a shoulder bag. Love the little dainty top handle strap. I just really like this. Now, this will not be an everyday bag for me. I don't care how casual I can make it. It's just not large enough for me to say that I could have all of my essentials in here. But I do think that this bag offers more versatility than what you may think of at first glance. Perfect for a worship service or a wedding or other occasions. Would be a great mother of the bride bag for a wedding. I love it. Oh, excuse me. All right, this next bag was a top purchase for 2018 because it was inspired by none other than then Fab to Fab, who is now Zori's Finds. So Zori was in attendance and participated at the 2018 meet and greet in Chicago. And at the time, she was carrying this bag in the small version. And she ranted and raved and praised the leather and the fact that she had been in and out of weather, and that the even though it was a lighter color bag, it didn't spot. She wasn't having any issues with it. It went with everything that she wore. So I, of course, was looking at the larger size, which is also a purchase that Zori made during the meet and greet. I think she has since downsized the small one because she realized that she really likes the large one. And it's not as big as you might initially think once you get your things in there. And then the actual opening of the bag, the medium size, is so much more user friendly than the small version. This particular color, I added several pieces into my collection this year, including my Amelie, large Amelie. So if you've been with me, then you know I'm talking about the color light taupe. And the bag is none other than the Florentine medium satchel. So I am so happy that I picked this up during the meet and greet. It possibly would not have been on my radar because of the color had it not been for Zori saying how great the light taupe color had been for her. So the size, and then the fact that the color, what is that? The fact that the color worked out for her really, really inspired me to go ahead and take the plunge. Now, I have not carried this particular bag yet. Y'all know I usually am in a bag for 2 to 3 weeks. The bag that I'm carrying now, I am going into week 4. So I've virtually carried it all of 2019 so far. And I have no plans of changing out of it tonight for work next week. The funny thing is, it is in the color, the bag that I'm carrying now is in the color Pure Cashmere, which is actually in the same color family as the light taupe. No worries. Don't go Google or go look on Dooney.com for pure cashmere. You will be highly disappointed. It will show no results found because I have not been carrying a Dooney and Bourke bag so far this year. I moved out of Dooney and I moved into another brand, into another bag, and then out of that bag into same brand but different bag, and I have just not been back to Dooney. I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna move back, but we might as well just round it out and say that I've been out of Dooney for a full 4 weeks. And in order to be able to say that, I have to carry it one more week. So, but that color is very, very similar to the light taupe. All right. Last but absolutely not least for me for 2018 is none other than a bag style that we have all been lusting over since the Closet Dive filmed her tent sale purchases. And Kimberly Mines picked up a bag like this. Valerie has picked up a bag in this style. I think Sonja, I could have that wrong, but I think Sonja also has a bag. And I am talking about none other than Hattie. It's Hattie, y'all. So, this is the large Florentine Hattie in the color Bone. And she is gorgeous. And I cannot wait to move into her. I am loving the strap. I love the fact that the zipper pull is braided and that it has the divider, the great divide in the middle so that you have control over the sliding. I also, remember I said I'm not a huge fan of the logo lock. So I fell in love with Hattie just in general because the logo lock is not used to actually close the bag. It's used as a part of the hardware for the strap. So for me, this is absolutely perfect. I am curious though. I'm curious as to whether or not when I load her down, even with the thick strap, with so many of the bags that I have seen in the Facebook groups and online where the lobster claw is actually broken, I just wonder if it's going to be strong enough to hold. So I don't know if there's anyone else that has Hattie, small, medium, or large, that carries a ton of stuff in their bag that's able to share in the comments or in the live stream what your experience has been with the lobster claw. But I would really appreciate that. She does have the feet reinforced on the bottom. I love the fact that she has the stitch work here on the bottom. Even though I know this is joining the two pieces of leather, I do think that it adds a little bit more stability to the bottom of the bag that would help to prevent sagging. And she's a big butt bag. She's not only deep, but she is also long. She's a bit north-south for my preference, but she's not that much taller than Buckley, and y'all know I absolutely love Buckley. So I am happy that I was able to add bone, and I also think I got red and maybe light taupe. Seems like I got 3. Maybe it's natural red and bone. I don't remember right now off the top of my head. But these are all of the bags that I was extremely excited to add into my collection for 2018. I have not made a Dooney and Bourke purchase. I realized as I was checking my account history, I have not purchased anything from Dooney since the 14th of December. So we're coming up on, what is that, about 7 weeks since I've made a Dooney purchase. I would say that that is not normal for me. I've been purchasing bags, they just haven't been from Dooney. Um, but that is, a right closet dive, it is a very long time. And I have, yes, I know you're making up for what I haven't been purchasing, which is all good. um, but I do. I'm looking. I really like the sweetie pieces that have been added for the Valentine's Day. But I don't necessarily want an entire bag with hearts on it. I would have loved that in a Willis, or even better in a Carrington, large and small, because those pieces would have been great add-ons and been perfect mixes and matches to other bags. But I just don't want an entire bag with hearts all over it. I already have one of those from previous years with Dooney. And maybe I should switch and carry that bag with the hearts all over it. Hmm. Maybe. I don't know. But it's pieces like that. I, I don't remember seeing M's. I don't remember seeing a makeup case in the sweetie. But I was exactly D Blair, the Carrington or a Millie. Um, I would have been fine either with even though it's not my favorite wallet and I won't buy another one, the Continental wallet or even a cosmetic case. I would prefer a wallet though. Or the fold over wallet in the Sweetie Hearts or the Sweetie. Um, I don't know. I think those would have been much better additions. Right, a wristlet, absolutely. Um, a coin case or a kiss coin lock or clutch in that would have been great. A beacon card case in that with the zip around would have been nice. But I've got, and I know that there are some people that absolutely love and have tons and tons of graphic pieces in their collection. And I have a few, and I like them. I enjoy them, but I just didn't want another bag. Because if you think about, I don't know if you remember the dots or the polka dots. They were kind of in that same color family, and I have a Charleston bag with those same color dots on it. It's very similar to the drawstring bag that Dee Blair revealed on her channel not too long ago. So I didn't need to go from dots to hearts in the same color family and design. I just would have preferred something a little different. Exactly, Mrs. Q. Something different. Um, so, other bags that I picked up this year that I think would be honorable mentions for me would be the duck bag, because it was the one that I missed out on when it launched exclusively on the day of the meetup. And then by the time I was ready to place the order, it was gone. But I am glad that I was able to finally add that into my collection for 2018. Um, Other pieces, like accessories, we'll talk about those next week, of course. You know, they're Carrington, and all things Carrington would be on the accessories list. Other things that I'm glad that I was able to purchase this year from Dooney, that were good purchases but don't necessarily fall into accessories, for me would be the umbrella. I've purchased now two of Dooney and Bourke's umbrellas. One of them with the Harding collection with kind of the navy blackish gray print. I think it's actually called Smoke. And then the one with the red handle that has the D's and B's all over it at $20 for one, and then whatever the cost was during during a trip to Aurora. I appreciate that. Purchased one in Aurora and then purchased the other one during the tent sale. That was a great purchase for 2018. And then the black web strap so that it's convertible, so that if anything gets dirty, or if I just want to swap out from a lighter color, the khaki or the brown strap, that I have that dark black strap available so that I don't miss out on using my bag just because um, the strap is dirty. We've talked about how I feel about dirty straps on here. Um, Other pieces that I think were great purchases, my red Captiva cosmetic case, thanks to Valerie finding that for me at the tent sale. My little $25 crossbody that has the zipper pockets like the Cooper. I love that. What I should have pulled out was my light gold Caldwell Cooper, because that was an amazing purchase for 2018. If you're not sure which bag I'm talking about, go back and take a look at day 3, I think it was, 2 or 3 of the 2018 tent sale haul. Hi Jody, welcome. I'm trying to think what else. I really thought, and I'm gonna try not to ding Dooney, but I was really excited over my shiny It crossbody with it was a perfect pair. But since then, DJ King has had issues with her strap. My Pursuit of Happiness had issues with her strap and her zipper pull. And and I can't think, and I apologize, charging to my head and not my heart. But one of the other young ladies shared with me that she'd had her bag for just a couple of months. She shared it on my Instagram. And she also had issues with her crossbody bag. So I was really excited about that one. I pulled it out. I really wanted to include it, but I just can't right now, knowing 3 people that have had issues with those bags, and all of them have had them for less than 18 months. So DJ King actually had hers for the longest period of time. I think My Pursuit of Happiness had carried her bag 2 or 3 times and has only bought it in the last 45 days. And then the other young lady had only had her bag for 3 to 6 months and had the same issue. So I couldn't, with a clear conscience, put that bag in the best of. I really like it. I'm excited to carry it, but I won't be traveling with it unless I'm traveling to family's house, for example, over the weekend. But it's definitely not something that I would feel comfortable traveling distances away from home. Like the cruise, it won't go with me on the cruise. It's not gonna go with me. It's just not. That's just it. It's not. D Blair, I think it is. It's part of it is the glue, the fact that they are gluing it and not stitching it. And maybe there's been some production modifications between the older version of this bag and newer production of it, because people have had this bag forever. It's like, dare I say, that silhouette is like that Lexington. It has been around forever, and you would think that they would have had but Kim, yours are you've had yours for a while, so I just wonder if you picked up a newer one, if you would have similar issues with yours. I did enjoy the fact that I was able to get is it Lanny or Lonnie in the Saffiano. Great crossbody. I got it in white, light taupe, and red, or taupe and red, taupe, white, and red. I'm excited about that. I can definitely see me carrying that one to Cuba. It's gonna fit a bottle of water, adjustable shoulder strap, outside pocket. I just think that it would be great. It would be a top purchase for me for 2018, even though I've not carried it yet. I do like the functionality that that particular bag offers. Um, and probably another says what made me do it is the Greta print leisure shopper in navy, because again, I had to force myself to move out of that bag after I moved into it. So all I'm saying is, if you are following Says What's channel, beware that if you take any bag recommendations from her, you are going to fall in love with the bag, and then you will have a hard time moving out of it. Great shoulder drop, great organization, the fact that you can keep it open or you can zip it closed. You don't need a bag organizer, but she is large enough to hold a bag organizer. Perfect for travel. All I'm saying is, if you're a tote girl, if you like big bags, if you like a good shoulder drop, if you were taking recommendations from Says What, um, you can see how many pieces I've talked about tonight, that she's the reason. She's the reason. But I am so glad that I took those recommendations, because I really, really have enjoyed them. And Sus, I just need for you to send a note in the chat to DJ King, because she has been on the fence about the Greta shopper, leisure shopper, and whether or not she should add it and in what color. And I've told her the same thing that I'm telling the entire chat tonight. Yes, she needs it. Yes, she will love it. It's gonna hold everything. It's the perfect mommy bag. It's the perfect travel bag. It's great as a laptop bag. And once she moves into it, she is not going to want to move out. I've given her that. She's not pulled the trigger yet. I think she needs just a little bit more of a push, and then DJ King will join us in the world of Greta. All right. I do have a little bit of a sip and cuss, and then I am going to let you go. So DJ King, I'm going to give you about 15 seconds to go get a glass, and then I am going to tell you what happened to me this week. And I have already given my apologies to my tribe sister Kimberly Mines, because I did not take into consideration the infrastructure of the public utilities in Detroit. But it irritated me. It was something that irritated me. All right, so those of you that have been around forever know that I travel extensively for work. And I love it. There are times where I get like I am now, where I need like a week at home to work from home, to like clean up my office and catch up on emails and do admin stuff and expense reports and all of that stuff. But just so that I get back to a place of calm and zen. And then after a week of doing that, I am bored out of my mind, and I'm like, put me on a plane, send me somewhere. I'm ready. Put me in a game, coach. I'm ready to go. So I am at that point now where I need an admin week. But last week was not an admin week. Last week was a travel out early, come in late week. And I could not have picked a worse week to travel because of the polar vortex that swept across Chicago and Detroit. So I spent the first part of the week in Chicago, and then traveled to Detroit. And y'all, it was cold. I could never. I told Kim, I said, I am going to stuff you in my purse and take you back south. You should not have to live in these brutal temperatures. It was cold. I'm talking about, y'all, I can remember one morning stepping outside and I did not have my scarf over my nose and my mouth. And I breathed in that icy cold air and I could feel my chest get cold from the inside. I am talking about cold. Gloves, it felt like I had just walked outside with ice or water already on my hands because it was so cold that gloves just did not help. I did, however, have my hand warmers, thank God, and my foot warmers that I purchased from Thank You Amazon for the tent sale, and I didn't use them all, so I was able to use those while I was there. In Chicago, I didn't use them. I needed them. By the time I got to Detroit, I was like, heck yes, I am using them. I am putting them in early, and I'm loving. I promise you, I'm gonna get to the sip and cuss part. What I loved about the foot warmers is that they had like a little sticky peel pad that you pull off, and then you just slap it on, and it sticks to the bottom of your sock so that it's not sliding around in your shoe and all of that stuff. So my feet stayed warm. And they weren't hot, and I was expecting my feet to be hot, but they didn't. So the next day, as my mom would say, Billy Badass, I decided it's not that cold. I don't need to put foot warmers on. And oh my goodness, as soon as I stepped out of the hotel into that frigid air, I immediately realized how bad of a mistake that was and was thankful that I dropped the fresh foot warmers into my purse. And as soon as I got to the office, I took my boots off and slathered them on the bottom of my feet, the bottom of my socks, because it made a huge difference. My feet didn't get hot, but because it was so cold, it kept my feet comfortable. I did, DJ King, I'm telling you, by the time I got into the office, my toes felt like I had been walking barefoot on ice. It was so stinking cold. I got a hat on. I got my scarf doubled up. I literally had on two coats the first 4 days of my trip. And on the last day, I actually added a fleece zipper pull up underneath my Columbia thermal reflective puffer jacket. And then I had my long wool winter coat on top of it. So, like, the middle part of me was warm, my extremities stayed cold, and thank God my mother and my grandmother and my great grandmother have always said, keep your hands, your feet, and your head. If you're going to catch a cold, those things will most likely be exposed, so you need to stay warm. So, here's where I officially transition into my sip and cuss. So, DJ King, are you ready? Do you have adult beverages? I get to Detroit, leave Chicago. They rushed us to get on the plane, only for us to spend 45 minutes on the tarmac waiting, because every plane, of course, was having to go through the de-icer pad. I'd rather be safe than sorry, but it makes me sick when airlines and pilots are more concerned about their departure from the gate, right? Because that's what they get paid off of, is did it leave the gate on time? So we left the gate, but we just taxied back, and then we hung out for 15-20 minutes, and then we taxied out, and I'm thinking we are getting ready to go, and we sit out there for another 30 minutes before we're able to take off, because Once you clear the de-icer pad, you still have to wait for your turn to take off, right? All right, no problem. So we're later leaving Chicago than expected, but the airline, I'm sure, got credit for a on-time departure because they stuffed all of our butts on the plane just to be able to taxi back. Get to Detroit, and I got distracted on my way out because Brighton has a boutique there, and they had some Carrington like pouches that caught. I was like, whoa. They have the feel of the ladies from the Henri Bendel line, and very similar, if not more, from a price point standpoint. But I got distracted, kind of window shopping on the way out. No problem. I get my bag, I take the shuttle over to the rental car facility, and all of what I would call the winter appropriate vehicles that were left at that time of night when I arrived had written on the window, no keys. Listen, with a ton of the vehicles that have push buttons, when I get ready to leave wherever I am and I'm on my way back to the airport and I know that I'm going to be leaving that vehicle there, the keys are in the same spot where they are when I pick them up. So the SUVs and the trucks that had no keys written on the window had folks that were either in a rush or put the keys on their key ring, or maybe they stuffed them in their pockets or in their laptop bags, but they left with those keys. So those vehicles were parked and no longer can be rented until either the keys are shipped back or until the rental car company has an opportunity to order replacement keys. I personally did not want to be driving a little convertible Mustang with all of the snow and ice that was on the ground in Detroit because somebody forgot to leave the dang blasted keys in the vehicle. So I was already not off to a good start because my feet are cold, my hands are cold, my nose is running. They did not... The Chicago airport has since moved into a new rental car facility. They did it back before Thanksgiving. It is covered. It's still open. It's like a parking deck, but I don't have to worry about the slush and the ice and slipping. Well, Detroit still has theirs with like overhead canopies, like a carport. For those of you that are familiar with carports or from the South, right? It's only been, I would say, in the last 20 plus years that they are regularly building houses in the South with garages, because there was just a port that was either like a little covering to the side of the house or somewhere in the yard where you just pulled your vehicle under. Well, when you have that in Detroit, that means snow and ice and everything else builds up. The salt was absolutely everywhere, but it was not safe to be out there navigating, trying to find a vehicle that had keys in them. And you know me, I'm thinking, well, why don't they just move the vehicles that don't have the keys, but they don't have the keys? So wherever you dropped wherever the last renter dropped that vehicle off is where that vehicle stays until they get the keys. So there was, other than them writing on the window, no keys, there was no way to distinguish those vehicles. All right, I got a minivan. Nothing against folks that drive minivans, but I would have preferred an SUV or truck because I don't regularly drive a minivan. I have a sedan and I have an SUV. So those are the two vehicles that I'm regularly in and out of. All right. I get to the hotel because it's late. There's no parking close. There is ice everywhere. I'm trying to get out with my laptop bag because I need to do some work. I've got my purse, coat, luggage. I get to the room and it's comfortable. But I need to defrost. So I go to the panel and turn the heat up because I've got to go back out and find a parking spot. And I need my room to be nice and toasty when I return. I return to the room. I order food. I'm getting my clothes together. Food arrives. I eat. The news is coming on. I'm not doing a whole lot of paying attention to the news because I'm trying to do some other stuff, booting up my laptop because I've got some work I need to do. And then all of a sudden, the Amber Alert goes off on my cell phone. And they don't go off at the same time. So it's one goes off and then the other. And I immediately think, oh my goodness, there is a child that has been abducted. Why can't people just, leave kids alone? And I go to check my phone, expecting to get the details of a missing child or the vehicle that they've been abducted in so that I can be a good citizen and be on the lookout for them. And it is not a freaking Amber Alert. It came through the National Amber Alert system, but evidently there had been an accident of some sort that compromised the natural gas pumping station. And they were sending out an alert to ask everyone in that area to lower their thermostats to a whopping 65 degrees. Y'all, it was negative 14. Negative 14 at that moment when I asked Google, what's the weather, Google? It said negative 14. And because of your million, billion, whatever dollar enterprise that has been compromised, you now want me to suffer and be effing cold throughout the night when there are people that are on fixed incomes, there are people that are out of work, you have people that have been suffering trying to pay their bills through a government shutdown, and because you want to try to preserve your system so that you don't have to do any major repairs, you asked me to turn the heat down to 65 when it is negative 14 degrees outside. Kim, I'm telling you, I went right over to the thermostat, and that's why I said you can come back to Atlanta with me, because I went right to the thermostat and turned it up 4 more degrees. I am not going to be cold, and I am not going to compromise my comfort for an infrastructure that does not care anything about people that are in need and that are trying to stay warm during the coldest night of the year. Jody, it straight pissed me off. And then just at that moment, as I'm reading this, the Amber Alert goes off on my business line. I'm in no rush to see it because I know that everybody's child is probably safe because our presidential administration did that BS earlier in the year where they allowed and I refuse to even say his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. That national alert system was not designed for that. It was not designed for that. So it really bothers me that the city approached the state of Michigan and the state of Michigan approached the federal government, and some idiot there that was not being paid at the time said, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. We're going to ping every single cell phone in the state of Michigan because you're tracking me through GPS, and allow for them to send that alert to my phone. I'm a visitor. My area code doesn't have anything to do with the state of Michigan, and you still allow for that text message to come to my phone. So screw your infrastructure. I'm still pissed off about the water situation in Flint, Michigan, because nobody is talking about that anymore on the news. But those people are still struggling with the utilities and infrastructure for fresh, clean, safe water. So doggone right, I went right over to the panel and turned it up 4 more degrees so that I could stay nice and toasty. And just then, trying to bring my pressure back down because my blood pressure had spiked, I look at the news, and the very next segment after they show the young lady that was reading the PR statement, please take the infrastructure into consideration. We're asking everyone to lower the temperature on your heating units to 65 tonight. So I'm like, all right, so they got that going on everywhere. But then the very next news segment was the fact that they had found 2 people frozen to death. One of them was a former city councilman. So you are telling me you're pinging my phone, asking me to endure the coldest night of the year at what is not a comfortable temperature, and then you follow that up, placement, right? So somebody probably screwed that up, where 2 people were found frozen to death the night before, and I went straight to the panel and turned it up another 2 degrees just out of GP. Y'all, I don't understand. And I mean, y'all, we all work in different places, in different industries. We all have different things going on financially, whether it is trying to pay for a cruise or trying to pay for tuition or putting a new roof in the house or wiring or issues with our cars or the fact that utilities just peak this time of year. Whatever it is, I want people that are in positions to make decisions to think those decisions all the way through. And in my line of work, one of the things that I always do with my team is I tell them, listen, we're going to get our story right on the front side so that if we are ever challenged, it's not that you got to think about it, but we thought through all of the business implications on the front side. So you don't have to remember a lie because we've already worked through the truth. Just remember the truth. And you can't remember the truth when you half-ass do stuff and you don't make good decisions. Somebody should have thought, you know what? Maybe we don't do this through the National Amber Alert because people are going to be looking for kids. Maybe we just make sure that it is on every news broadcast. Maybe, just maybe, since we got everybody's numbers, maybe we just send a text message as opposed to the alert going off with everybody in the doggone hotel about turning the thermostat down to 65. It is stuff like that. When I am prepping my team, I tell them, listen, we need to script it out so that it makes sense. It needs to flow. The placement on it. You need to make sure that the story that you are telling not only is the truth, but you got the details right, that it makes sense, that you're comfortable with it, so that if you are ever asked to explain it, it makes sense. So clearly, and I cannot remember for the life of me which news network I was watching because it doesn't matter, but I don't know whether they were calling BS too, and that was the reason that the 2 frozen dead bodies followed the placement of the turn your heat down to 65, or if somebody was just not thinking that this is probably not the natural flow that is going to convince people that are watching the news to turn their thermostats down to 65 after we asked you to turn it down, and then, oh, by the way, people were just found frozen to death. Those things don't go together. They just don't. So, I'm glad to be back in the state of Georgia, where when I got off of the plane, it felt like it was summertime at a balmy 32 degrees, because Negative temperatures and the wind chill factor in both Chicago and Detroit made it an extremely difficult travel week. So, to my beautiful friends that are in Chicago, Sonja and Ivana, to my beautiful friend Kim in Michigan, to my beautiful friends, military mom and says what in the state of Ohio. I'm coming back for y'all. I'm bringing my large Russell and I'm going to just stuff y'all in there because there's no way that you should have to live and be that cold. And you should also not have to deal with those kinds of infrastructure issues. It just rubs me raw. So, pack your bag, make it a little one so you can all fit in my large Russell. And I'm going to smuggle you back on the plane and bring you back south to me where winters do not turn into Arctic temperatures. Because I feel bad leaving all of y'all behind in those temperatures because there. I was telling my boss because Friday morning it sounded like I was coming down with a really bad cold because of my throat and just congestion and drainage and all of this other stuff. And I'm, of course, feeling a whole lot better now. But what I told her is that at the spring of the year, when I am back in, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, and they have all of this wonderful winter clearance, I am going to rack up on winter clothes that I purchased from those colder climates because what I realize is that the winter clothes and sweaters and boots and stuff that I have picked up here in Georgia, they don't cut it. That's like play winter clothes. It is not sufficient for winter weather that I'm going to have to continue to travel in and out of. I need some thicker, warmer winter weather gear. And I was reminded of spring break when I was in undergrad. I leave Nashville going home with a friend for the Easter holiday weekend. That afternoon, classes were done early, and I was sitting outside. It was sunny. I had on short sleeves. In April, had sandals on, and I go and pack and leave to go to Ohio for the long Easter weekend. And the weather was nice when I first got there. And then the next day, I had to go buy a coat, boots, jeans, socks, and a hat because there was like 9 inches of snow. I don't know at that point that I had been north of the Mason-Dixon line, but maybe twice since before then. But clearly I had not packed sufficiently to travel to Ohio in April with snow in the forecast. And the funny thing is, the coat that I purchased, the hat that I purchased lasted me for years. And honestly, those boots I still have in my closet today. I've had to have them retapped, but they were absolutely phenomenal purchases. Purchases I had not expected to make, on that weekend, but absolutely needed them because I was not prepared for a cold, long Easter weekend. So when I come back, I will absolutely be shopping because the layers, I just need to find a different, coat for when I travel to that particular area. And I absolutely need to buy more winter weather boots, hats, gloves, and socks because those were the things that really, really, I think would have made a difference in the comfort level for me this week. And not getting that dang text message from the National Amber Alert System about turning down the thermostat to 65 degrees. So, I do hope that everyone is safe and warm. And if you are comfortable at 65 degrees, then by all means, rock out 65 degrees. But if you are like me and comfort starts around 74 degrees with the heat, then by all means, do what is necessary to be comfortable. Teresa, I'm going to have those dates for you. I will send it to you. They are expecting a little bit of weather, some rain, and then some cold weather on the backside. So I am going to get those dates together. They've thrown off just a little bit. My mom is having some health challenges right now, so I'm a lot better this week thanks to my tribe. Thanks to my girlfriend Martrice, who is in Nashville. Thanks to my tribe sister Valerie, who has really, really taken time to help me wrap my mind around what my mom is up against right now. So I am recentering, and I am going to pull it all back together, and I will have the dates for you for around for Nashville. So y'all, that is all I have. The 2018 best purchases, top purchases, and the reasons why. And then just a little bit of a sip and cuss, because I'm sure right about now somebody is cussing out a quarterback, a tight end, a fullback, a halfback, or a ref with this game. As for me, I'll probably have it on maybe in the background. But I'm about to go and eat some wings and just relax, because it's about to be another jam-packed week. And I don't know how the weather is going to play, but what I will tell you is make sure you stay bundled up, because we are on the brink of flu and pneumonia season with these swings in temperatures. So just make sure that you stay warm. And Kim, I swear to you, after our conversation this morning, I talked to my mom, and she said the exact same thing that your mom said. You dress for the season, not for the weather. And I told her, I said, oh my goodness, Kim literally just said that. So I'm going to stay bundled up because I just, if you just take a moment and think about the last time you had the flu or a cold, and how miserable you felt, and how wonderful it felt to finally be able to breathe again, or to be able to breathe out of both nostrils, or to not have that aching in your throat because of the coughing and your side hurting. If you just think about how horrible it felt in that moment, and how much you really appreciated good health, then remember that, and make sure that you continue to take care of yourself and stay bundled up. Make sure that you're taking your vitamins and supplements. Make sure that you're covering your throat, not breathing in a bunch of cold air. I don't care what your hair looks like afterwards. Put a hat on and cover your ears. Make sure you got on good socks, warm shoes, and don't stay in cold, damp, and wet clothing. It does you no good. So, thank you so very much for watching, everyone. I do hope that until next time, you find something that feeds your Dooney